Hello, and I'm glad to be joined today by Alan Crombie and be speaking about Kirkcaldy's heritage and 50 objects. Alan, you've got a real love of history in the town. Can you tell us about that?
My love of history, it goes back, very, very fortunate. It's an overused phrase, it's in the genes, but I'm very fortunate. My paternal side, I can go back to the early 1700s in the Links, and on my maternal side in Markinch, I could go back to the Battle of Culloden. So
wow.
my roots are sunk deep in Fife, and especially Kirkcaldy. And it's fair to say that I'm never happy if I'm outside of Fife. I like being inside Fife. I am a Fife laddie, as they say. So lucky when I was young, my grandfather worked with, when we talk about the Volunteers Green, grandfather worked with a firm, Adamson the chemist. Just at the bottom of Nichol Street, you could probably throw a stone from his shop to the Volunteers Green. And I was so lucky. He lived in top of Bellwind, 198 Link Street. And he knew everybody in the Links. He really genuinely did. And he recounted stories. He spoke about people. And I almost felt I knew them. I got a rich beginning to history. And in the morning, he used to walk down Bellwind, cross the prom into the sea wall. We walked along, and then he came up to what was Johnny Loudon's Wynd, because that was the boundary between the Links and Kirkcaldy. he wouldn't go into Kirkcaldy. He was a Linktown laddie. So
it was very much like that.
I remember that vividly.
Yeah, it was almost like a village within a village, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, and people lived cheek by jowl. It wasn't all, it was every rank in life was there living next door to each other. It was, I've just so many memories of the fruit carts coming round. It was carts with horses in those days, and everybody spoke to everybody else. Yeah, it was a lovely upbringing, and it always seemed to be sunny. I'm sure it wasn't, but it always seemed to be sunny. So
it just felt like that.
He gave me two things. He gave me that love for Kirkcaldy, but most of all, he gave me the best gift I've ever had, and that's a love for Raith Rovers. His uncle, so that's my great uncle, played in the first season in 1887. He actually played 18 games in the first season, so
amazing.
It's all party, isn't it? It's just you are what you are.
Exactly. And the first object, if you like, or place we're going to be talking about is Volunteers Green. A fascinating place with a lot of history in the town.
Oh, absolutely fascinating. We chose it. When I say we, I really should introduce the team. There's myself. I research and write the narratives. George Proudfoot, who is the chair of the Civic Society, and this is a splinter group from the Civic Society. Splinter's maybe too strong a word. It's an offshoot where we are doing this on behalf of the Civic Society, one object a month leading up to the 50th birthday. So George checks my historical accuracy, and he is responsible for the maps and the photographs that we put into the pieces. We've got Alan Westwater, who is a marvellous command of the English language and a superb writer. And Alan puts my scribblings into proper English and punctuates it, because I punctuate as I speak, not as I read. And so he does that. And we've got a lad called Michael McLaren who does all the social media work. He designed the website. He's done the Facebook page. So it's a nice little compact team. It will be expanded. We'll be inviting other people to write and comment. But just to get it started, we kept it nice and tight, because when you get a committee, well, you know what happens. So yes. After that long-winded explanation, we went for the Volunteers Green simply because that was the principal reason that Kirkcaldy Civic Society was founded. Way back in 1974, there was it seems like yesterday to me, but goodness me, it's 46 years ago.
Doesn't feel like it though.
Oh, goodness me. There was the likelihood of a multi-storey car park being built on a huge part of the green. And it really did bring about a public ferment. It genuinely did. It was people power got it stopped, and the multi-storey car park is where it is today, and the Volunteers Green has been saved. Originally, it was 8.172 acres. It stretched from Johnny Loudon's Wine to George Burn Wine. It was a huge piece of ground that was granted by King Charles when he granted royal borough status to Kirkcaldy. It was common ground, but of course it's been eaten away and eaten away. But to lose the last bit would have been absolutely tragic, because you can stand in the green and look at so much of Kirkcaldy, the sea wall, the church spires, the original borough school. It's a very, very important part. And I was delighted this week when we got a photograph taken. There were so many people were using it, just sitting there peacefully having their sandwiches. And I thought, yeah, this is worth preserving. And if we've got the story, great.
If you like, it's another instance of the community in Kirkcaldy coming together and deciding, well, actually, you're not going to have a car park there. We're going to save this bit of history in our town. Because it's important.
That was very well put and much faster, much slicker than I did it. No. Like Sir Walter Scott, why use one word if 15 will do? But yeah, it was genuine people power. It did cause great anxiety, because once it's lost, it's lost.
It's gone. Yeah.
So much of Kirkcaldy has been lost. It's tragic. It's absolutely tragic. Just how much of Kirkcaldy's history has been allowed to go. So. Yes, it's me. My main thrust, as well as recording the history, is to give something back to a town that's given me so much pleasure over the years. And as I say, my roots sink deep, and it's a small thing, but I feel I'm doing something.
It's almost like it's like your ancestry. I mean, you're speaking about a relative there that played the first season of Rafe Rovers. Couple hundred years later, that's still staying with you. So that those connections in the town, those places in the town are very, very important.
Oh yeah, indeed. I mean, I've got relatives on the War Memorial as well, and I go every year. My grandfather went, my father took over from him, and I go now. It's these things are important. It's a song somewhere, a line that you can only reach the future through the past, and I happen to believe that. You've got to know where you've come from to go forward.
Yeah, and that's why, I'll be honest, that's why I originally you reached out to myself and we had a conversation, and that's very much what I think of history. It's almost like you're remembering who you are, and I've got such an appreciation and respect for it. Nothing makes me more excited than talking about history.
No, people say I live in the past, and to the degree I do, I remember the kindnesses, the time and trouble people took to invest in me, and this is just a small payback, very, very small. And sometimes you don't appreciate the normal or what's around you, and the COVID certainly proved that. It's not the great things I miss, the huge holidays or anything else. It's going for a cup of coffee, it's talking to friends. By all means, appreciate the greater things, but never forget the small things. And in a perverse way, that's what this is about.
Yeah, I mean, I was, last weekend I was at Cupcake Coffee Box for my first proper coffee since COVID.
Now, that is what a wonderful, you must know that this was developed in the Cupcake Coffee Box.
Yeah.
The three of us were just having a chat, George, Alan and myself, and we were looking at how to celebrate this birthday, and it was Alan Westwater came away with 50 objects, and at first it was going to be all done at once in 2024, and then we thought, no, why not just do it one a month? And the website's there, and I'm delighted with the number of hits we've already had. It's pleasing. Yes, it's only one object just now, but it will soon be 2, and then 3, and then 4, and we're hoping that we'll get, it's not about history, we're hoping to get recollections, memories, corrections, anything at all. If it's not interactive, we've probably failed.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes the best part of history, because my mum will sometimes refer to my nana, and she'll say, when she went to the baker's on a Saturday, and she would get a mayonnaise roll, and they'd get half a tablet between the two of them, and it was these memories, those little stories that really bring home those relatives to you.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what we say continually. We've no monopoly on this. It's we've no monopoly on the content or what people write, and that's why being interactive is just so important.
Thank you so much, Alan, for speaking to me about the first object for the Volunteers Green for Kirkcaldy's Heritage in 50 Objects, and I'll look forward to speaking to you again in a few weeks.
And I thank you on behalf of our little committee for giving us the invitation.
No, I'm absolutely delighted. Thank you.
Thank you.